The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of Worldwide Digital Broadcasting Corporation.
Y'all ready for this?
It is Monday, April 24th, 6 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, which means it's time for another installment of Southern Nevada Sports News coming to you from Worldwide Digital Broadcasting TV Corp.com. My name is Bill Miller, along with
Jeff Belknap.
And with us on the line, the prognosticator from Cleveland himself, George Jorge Misch. George, how you doing, man?
How are you, my friend? Terrible day, but I'm ready to go.
All right, fantastic. And folks, as we've been leading up to, this is our 2017 NFL pre-draft show. The draft is this Thursday, and we've been kind of leading up to this, and this show is dedicated completely to as many of the selections as we can get through in the hour that we have. Guys, thank you very much for all being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And Georgie, and thank you, George, for taking the time.
Yeah, sure. I'm here.
All right.
Okay.
I appreciate that, man.
Pick number 253. Let's start. Oh, never mind. I'm sorry.
That's why we should do it backwards.
Mr. Irrelevant, which we actually had on our show one day, a punter from Kansas City. Kicker from Kansas City was Mr. Irrelevant, and we had him on. But, well, anyway, guys, there's been, needless to say, a lot of wheeling and dealing. The latest we have basically is, what we have, and we'll work with what we have. So we'll try to get through as many of these as possible. George.
Yes, sir.
We're going to throw it open to you, buddy. And, of course, the Cleveland Browns have the number one pick.
Yes, and my sources, which I have one dartboard, and that's it, because sources are full of crap anyway, because I don't think anybody has them, but that's my opinion of it. It's no-brainer. It's Garrett all the way. Anybody that says they're going quarterback, they're going this and that, should be shot right now. Minus 130, I think, in Vegas. If you take Garrett, put out the 130 and put the 100 back and take your brides out and girlfriends out to dinner. There's nobody even close to him.
I'm cashing.
And that's it. I'm sorry. That's the people here. They're trying to do this and they do that and this and get up and no. It's just this is brainless. They'll throw Sashi Brown in the river, which may happen anyway.
Well,
it's
we've
the
got
easiest pick in the world.
We've got a real better in the house here, and Jeff. Have you put any action on the selection for number one, Jeff?
I'm actually going to do that right now.
Okay.
No, I actually agreed that it's going to be Garrett. I mean, that's absolutely a no-brainer. But I don't see any reason why they would take a quarterback right now when Watson will probably be around for their second pick. So, I mean, if they really want a quarterback, there's going to be some other choices.
Yeah. So, I mean, I agree. I think that they've been kind of locked in on him.
Yeah.
And I haven't really heard anything else. There were apparently a few disparaging remarks by I think it was Warren Sapp over the weekend about Garrett.
And he's obviously a professional when it comes to drafting.
Yeah, well, he certainly has
That makes it even more that you take the guy.
Yeah, right off the bat. So this was quickly the sell, and this is a guaranteed now, and it's a lock. That's all right.
But if it isn't, I'm moving to Australia, and that's it. So this will be the last I talk to you if that happens.
You can't pick a worse place to go. I mean, Australia is kind of like moving to California.
Actually, Australia I found, so I won't go on it because I'm conservative, and I won't tell you the reason I want to Australia. But if you look them up, you'll understand what the government is trying to have done in the next year or so, and you'll understand totally.
Well, I've actually been to Australia. I've been there a few times, and
oh my Lord, I'm not talking about El Segundo. I'm saying Australia.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
All right, let's go.
Pick a port. Okay.
Now comes the fun part.
Yes. Now, San Francisco 49ers will be next up on the clock at number 2. Jeff, you want to go first?
Well, I think that they've already said John Lynch has already talked about. I don't think that they need to get a quarterback. I mean, you figure, Lynch got to sign a 6-year contract. His coach signed a 6-year contract. I don't think there's any reason for them to rush into anything and putting something together. But, obviously they have some quarterback needs. So Trubisky, I think, is the obvious pick. But, I mean, that's arguable. I mean, people could argue that. I saw Kaiser up there on a couple of the people's boards, which I don't necessarily agree with. I think he needs a little bit of fine-tuning, but you never know. I mean, I think you look for somebody, if you're looking for a quarterback that can step right in and play.
Yeah, Kaiser's going to go in. His coach from Notre Dame says he sucked, so he's going to that cost him about $500,000. You should be Kelly should be really just a happy guy doing that. But anyway. Yeah. I don't think it's going to be Trubisky one bit, and it could be him. But I'm looking at their weaknesses, and the quarterback is the top. But the rush end is the edge person is the key to this team, I think. But I'm even going past. I don't even know. Nobody will have this, but I am going past Thomas. I'm going past whoever the hell the rest of it. I'm taking Barrett from Tennessee as the second pick in the draft.
Yeah,
that's way too high probably, but his energy, his motor, everything is nonstop. Has as good a stats as Garrett, and this is a long shot to happen, but I think that would be a fantastic pick for them to pick up.
Well, they definitely need a D-line. There's no doubt about that. So
clearly,
I mean,
they need a few things.
Yeah,
and,
I mean,
you only get one pick per selection, so you can't do a two for.
So you wouldn't pull a Jonathan Allen in the first round? I mean,
not really. No, he's coming. He's coming.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
Just checking.
No, it's just the shoulder part, and I think they need the edge more than the middle. That's the only thing. They do need it, but I'm just putting that slightly ahead, not by much, but that's my opinion. Maybe other places have some different, but I have that more important. Their offensive line needs a lot too, and a wide receiver, but it's way too early to do both of those.
Yeah, I agree.
So you don't think with a guy like Solomon Thomas, who's right down the street from Stanford, somebody that they could obviously have watched over a longer period of time.
Sure.
You don't think that's a? I mean, I think there's a lot of pressure on Lynch to make something big happen, which I hope he doesn't fall into that trap. It's a long-term job and it's a long-term process, and I think that he probably should play it smart. But I agree. I think that they would probably go with a defensive lineman before they would go with a quarterback.
The only thing I don't like about Thomas is he's a tweener. I mean, according to people that he can put on weight, but he's perfectly fantastic. But he's right in between the defensive, the D1 or D5, 3, whatever they call those things, at edge. So I just took Barnett because I've watched him in Tennessee, and he even runs to the sidelines. So and it just impressed me the energy the guy has. Or they may trade down. That may be the move that they should make, but we don't know that till Thursday.
All right. Okay. Next up, the Chicago Bears, and again another team that needs a lot of help.
They do, yes. They need, they got wide receiver is too early for them, but they got, but I'm going off the branch, a little bit off the edge here. It's either cornerback or safety. I'm going to let the safeties go because they signed by somebody, Demps maybe in the free agency, and I'm going to take Lattimore from Ohio State as the cornerback and go third. A little bit too high, but that's what I see.
Yeah, I agree that Lattimore is a absolute beast. I think it might be a little bit too high.
It's.
They definitely are in the need for secondary. I like Humphrey from Alabama. I think that he's a solid.
Yeah, I don't like him as much,
but he's looking at, depending on what you're looking for. I mean, going after a corner might be a little high to go after a corner, but
yeah.
So who are you looking at?
I said, Adams or Hooker would be fine, but I just for some reason, I just liked the Lattimore thing for the cornerback because I did do a free agent, and that's the only reason I went to it. I mean, I wouldn't be upset with Hooker or Adams going. It's all three of those are solid. So
yep.
It's going to be one of the three, I would think.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Hooker go that high, but they do need quarterback.
He's actually running and practicing already. They said on the internet today, the Buckeye Insider. So that's he's ahead of schedule. So that may help him out stay near the top of the board.
It's hard for me to say, like, who, because I don't know what is more pressing for them. I know that, without Cutler, I mean, are you going to go with your USC boy to run your team into a 5-win season? I'm kind of hoping they do pick a garbage player, but I mean, or not a quarterback, but CBS has him, Jamal Adams coming, and he's obviously a guy that can hit and a guy that can come up and fill. So, big player from LSU. I don't really have a play, but it's hard because when you know what a team needs in particular, it's easy. But when you look at a team like Chicago or even 49ers for that matter, it's very tough to pick up the exact person.
Some have even said they may, even though they have Gleason, correct? I believe if that's that they could maybe take somebody to be behind them, but I don't agree with that.
Okay.
Yes.
Next up, Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yes. Jeffrey.
Without a doubt, if Jonathan Allen is still around,
wow. We agree.
Yeah, he'll definitely be picked up by Jacksonville.
Now, the world has them taking Fournette, but if you look at him, he's not and I never realized that he's only caught like 41 passes in his career, and a lot of the so-called experts are believing that he can't run with a bad line. He needs the blockers to really be something, and looking at this, they need a tackle, guard, and center.
Yeah,
so that wouldn't be a very good place for him. So I totally agree with you with Allen. That was circled at number 4.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't think that Fournette, personally, I don't feel like he's the best back. I think that Cook's a better back, but I didn't go to the Combine. I didn't go to the Senior Bowl. I didn't see how these guys, laid out in those venues. So that's it.
The way I talked to Bill yesterday or whatever the heck I talked to, it said that McCaffrey's the safest, Cook is the scariest because he fumbles and has some off-field problems, and Fournette's right in the middle. And which way ever you go is you're going to live or die with it. So that's all. So I know they're not going to be Trent Richardson. That's all I hope for.
Okay. All right. Next up, Tennessee Titans in a via the Los Angeles Rams.
Yes, maybe a little too high, but I think they're one. I looked at their needs, and they're one that stands out totally. Matter of fact, maybe their only really huge need is a receiver. And even though Corey Davis has been nominated to be the best one, I'll go with Williams, maybe a little high on the 5th pick, but I like him a lot. And I thought about Howard, but that's way too early. And Foster, they could use an inside linebacker, but I'll let him drop for a little bit. But I love Williams as a catcher. When you throw it to him, he catches it, and should be interesting.
Well, actually, we agree on that one as well.
Very good.
I actually was so impressed the last 2 games in the playoff games with Michael Williams. And, watched the guy a couple of times during the year, but the way this guy played in the last couple of games just completely balled out. I mean, he was catching everything that was thrown at him. Passes that were overthrown, he was catching.
He was still managing.
That's what they said in Pro Football Focus, Jeffrey. They said if you throw it near him, he's going to get it. That's you don't have to be that accurate, and they know more than I do. So.
And you've got a good young quarterback in Tennessee. So I mean, the upside, is the potential there is just incredible, especially in that conference, or rather that division.
I'm sure that he's sitting back begging that they pick up Michael Williams.
Yeah.
I mean, think about the season that he had, even with I mean, I'm not saying he didn't have any weapons, but B receivers at best, and some guys late in their careers.
Well,
so
I mean, I'm looking at some of the the analysis, and out of 5, they all were looking at either a corner or safety.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought that Tennessee's defense actually didn't play very badly last year.
I agree. I mean, I see that one guy, talking about Lattimore from Ohio State, which is a great pick, but I mean, that's when you have coaches in a room and they're trying to figure out what they need the best, and it really comes down to the GM. Who's he really leaning on?
Yeah, and what coach he last spoke with.
My personal opinion is if they picked up another receiver, they could compete a little bit better.
It's their only real weakness, serious weakness that they have on this team, so it really can propel them up.
Yep, I agree.
All right.
Especially what they take at 18.
At the number 6, we've got the New York Jets.
I actually had Hooker at that.
Go ahead, Jeffrey.
I actually had Hooker at that position, but they obviously need a running back. So, Fournette, Cook, are probably going to jockey for that position, or possibly, Hooker, Lattimore, depending on who's available at that time. I mean, they're all players that are going to be needed by the Jets. I mean, they're in a serious need of a safety, and it's going to be interesting to see how that pick goes.
Mine goes 2 ways, and that's the only way I have it. I got either they pick Trubisky and stay where they're at, or trade back to Cleveland and take Hooker. That's and possibly Adams, but I think Hooker is a better fit for them. So that's the only way I see it going for them. The running back would be nice, but I think it's one or the other.
Well, with all of the drama centered around the quarterback position last year, you don't see that as some pressure in the Big Apple to bring in a quarterback, or to draft a quarterback high.
Well, I mean,
the Jets
as bad as they want to call the boy from Harvard, man, he did keep him in a lot of games. I mean, he couldn't put games away, but that's a tough one. When your coach doesn't believe in you and no one else believes in you, and you're still out there going and winning games, I mean, what are you going to say to that? But yeah, I mean, I'm not saying the guy's going to be around forever either, so you got to kind of look at your future, and that's what the draft's for. I mean, this is probably the deepest draft that I've seen in a while. As far as like overall, just really solid players. So we'll see what happens.
So what were your individual picks for the Jets, Jeff?
I mean, depending on if Hooker's still around, I think it's probably going to be him. I wouldn't be surprised to see Lattimore or a running back would be Cook. So I'd say Hooker if I had one pick. That's if the Bears don't take him.
Jorge?
I got a bail on it. I mean, if Trubisky's there and they're not trading, I think they're going to take Trubisky, which is fine with me. If Trubisky gets the Jets move down and the Browns move up, the Browns will take. I'll say Trubisky one way or the other. How's that? Because if the Browns are there, the Jets are there, it's going to be the same thing.
Okay. All right, next up, and this is strange saying this, the Los Angeles Chargers.
Is that them? Wow.
Hey, well, I'll start out. You already gave your play on this guy already. This is where I think Bartlett goes. Barnett from Tennessee goes.
Okay.
That's that's my opinion. I know that they need a little bit of a pass rush, and with Bosa on that defensive line, they could actually do some damage.
All right. I'm other than a guard, which is too early. I think their biggest thing is the safety and the cornerback once again, and I can't remember I don't think I took Adams anywhere, so I'm going to take Adams in this one. He only gave up 2 touchdown passes in 3 years. That's pretty damn good.
I like it.
Although Hooker has only given up 2 passes of 20 yards or more last year, so I'm going to take Adams, the safety, to go to the Chargers from L.A.
Got it. All right, number 8, the Carolina Panthers.
George?
One of the 3 running backs: Cook, McCaffrey, Fournette. I'm gonna go Fournette. Just play it in the middle. I think Carolina would would love to have a running back in this situation, and you got three of them to choose from in my scenario. The other thing they need is a tackle, Dad, but I would definitely take one of the three. I wouldn't be unhappy with all of them, but Fournette probably would be my pick if I had to really take it.
Well, if I had a choice of the three running backs, I'd go with McCaffrey.
Okay.
I think that this is a position where they they might take some secondary help. They had a huge problem with that last year. One of the guys that might be one of the only guys left might be Humphreys, which he might go earlier, but he's definitely going to be a top 10 pick. So whichever one of these guys is left, basically in the corner position, I would have to lean towards.
Where do you see where I put Humphrey at?
Uh-oh.
Honestly,
I hope it's not Detroit.
I think McCaffrey is a steal. I really do.
Yes.
I think he's a tweener. I think he's got fantastic hands. And I think that if you really want to keep Cam Newton healthy, I think this is the absolute safety valve you need.
Yeah.
And that, he would absolutely fall. He fits right into that Carolina Panther offense.
With McCaffrey, I like him a lot. He's got good feet. He's quick. If there was any downfall in him at all, I think would be his size when it gets to the NFL.
Because he's kind of a tweener.
Yeah, he's just a
really,
little guy.
I think he's really not a scat back kind of guy, okay? But I think he could play 2 downs, 3, and then he could also slide over into the slot.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have to move right into the starting role right off the bat.
He doesn't.
I think he'd have a problem with
that. And I think he takes a
Carolina.
lot of the pressure off of Olsen. And, and instead of some of those double teams that they put on him, suddenly, they could run wild.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. Absolutely.
All right, next up, Cincinnati
I'll still
Bengals.
stick with Fournette, sorry.
George's favorite team, the Cincinnati Bengals.
The Cincinnati, what do you say they're my favorite
Second
team?
favorite
They're in
team.
Ohio, right? I love them to death. They're fine. Here's where I'm going to stick Thomas at. Cincinnati they're definitely their number one objective is pass rush, and other than guard, and that's it has to be an edge rusher. And I have if Barrett isn't gone from San Francisco, then Barrett will be down here, but I have Thomas going to him and helping Cincinnati out.
So you think he drops all the way from 2 to arguably 2? This is what other people are forecasting, to 9.
Well, that's you see it often. It's he still has to put the weight on to do what he's got to do. He's a ferocious player, but I mean, I do.
I'm going to go on a limb with Reuben Foster, linebacker from Alabama. I think that they had some trouble in the middle last season, especially stopping the run. Is this a little high? Yes, but do they need a linebacker? Yes. Is he one of the best linebackers available in the inside? Yes. So that's why I'm going to lean that way.
And USC boy, I can't say his last name, Mula or whatever. He retired also, Ray. So they do have a need for that.
Yeah.
Oh, they absolutely do. All right, next up, the Buffalo Bills.
The Buffalo Bills from Buffalo. Let's let you go for this one.
Well, this is a tough one because Buffalo needs weapons on offense.
Mm-hmm.
So much lobster, so little time.
They need a lot of lobster and those a little time. So they let their running back go today to the Patriots. And that I believe is going to be something that haunts them 2 games a year.
Of course it will.
And if they decide to pick a defensive player and he's still available, I believe that Adams goes to Buffalo. Offensive player, I mean, just to have a weapon in a tight end. There's 2 tight ends that really stand out to me. O.J. Howard from Alabama.
Right.
He's a big guy, big target. 6'6", kind of, he's got some good feet. Doesn't run the greatest routes, but that's something he can work on. And then the guy from Miami, and his name's escaped me, Joy Koo, I believe his name is, the tight end from the Canes. I really like this guy. If you're going to pick up a tight end, it's going to be one of these 2 guys. They definitely need a weapon on offense. Maybe if Williams is still around, that's definitely something they're going to jump on. But they definitely need to do something with these guys.
I'm jumping on Corey Davis. He hasn't been said yet, and I guess he had a few injuries and didn't work out for the big boys, but he's had 3 phenomenal years at a lesser conference, but to go with Green and not be the number 1 man to step into would be a nice option, and that's who I'm going with.
I love Corey Davis.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy, this is a guy that's going to fly under the radar, and honestly, the only people that watched that season that the Western had last year really know who this guy is. I mean, unless you're from Michigan. But
I like him, but I don't love him.
I think he's a great. But the thing about him is he's quick. He does exactly what you need him to do. He's a good blocker downfield. He runs his routes very crisp, which, a guy like Belichick, if this guy's around when the Patriots get it, this guy is going to the Patriots. I can tell you right now.
Belichick loves disciplined route guys.
He loves guys that do exactly what they tell him to do, and I think Corey Davis can do that. But I like to play. That's a little high for him, I believe, with the Bills, but we'll see.
Okay.
All right, next up, the New Orleans Saints, and the last, apparently, I read on the crawlers that looks like the Saints and the running back from Minnesota. Antonio. I'm sorry, AP.
Yeah.
AP.
Adrian Peterson. I did see that the other day, and
it looks like they're close to signing.
Yep, $3 million deal. I saw.
Yeah, they got.
Are those your sources?
That's the sources. I hope it's not ESPN. But.
No. Well, actually, it was, it was my son Jason, who's a diehard Saints fan.
I actually did see that as well. So
Jason,
I'd rather him not go to a conference.
And I passed by it quickly like the wind. I hope it happens. That'd be nice because he's already been rejected by every other team, so he's got to get somewhere.
I mean, I think that's for sure. He cannot go back to Minnesota with his helmet in his hand. But the Saints are up on the 11th pick. And I'm kind of looking at some of the analysts, and it looks like they're all thinking defense, and God knows they could use help on a defense. You can put up 35, 40 points and still lose. There's a problem.
Here's where I would pick either an edge person like Willis, Lawson, Harris, or Charlton, but I'm not, and I'm going with the higher rated player despite his lack of there's too much water in the system. What a diluted drug test means, I have no idea. But I am taking Reuben Foster in this one to head the New Orleans as the inside linebacker. He should be phenomenal if he can just stay between the lines.
Oh, I like that play. I mean, he's definitely going to be up there. I'm going to lean towards one of two people. I think a DN is definitely going to be a position they need. I'm going to lean towards Tim Williams, Alabama.
Oh, okay.
And
Tim Williams?
Yeah. And or Taco Charlton. Yeah. From Michigan.
Okay.
The guy's a good, solid rusher. He's got good size, good feet, nice contain.
Monster. But I don't like the Tim Williams thing because he's basically just a pass rusher, and his middle name is Trouble. He's passed. He's failed so many tests, it's ridiculous. But if he gets straightened out, that's fine. But I stay away from him as fast as you can. I don't think he'll go to the third round, possibly.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, that's well. You know what? I think that you now recognize that with the NFL that when this issue pops up, there's almost a universal feeling that they will slide, and nobody's going to actually rush out to get them in the earlier rounds. So, yeah, I think unfortunately it's one of the punishments that's going out to these young men who don't seem to think that this is actually all that important. Well, next back up at the 12th pick, once again, the Cleveland Browns via the Philadelphia Beagles.
Yes. We've already talked about this from my side. If Trubisky's there at 12, I take him. If he's not there and Hooker slides, I'm taking Hooker. And if everything comes worse to shove or whatever, and this would be just as happy for me to take. I don't care if Trubisky comes there. I'm just giving you what I think's happened. I went O.J. Howard so bad I can just
Okay.
One thing about Trubisky, let's go back to Cleveland, and I know you guys know this because you're on it like Blue Bonnet, but Trubisky is from Cleveland, and
yes.
you put him in a position like that after with only 1 year starting, and he was fantastic in high school. That's a pressure and a half to come into Cleveland, and the owner says, "Okay, you win." With all those 19 jerseys hanging there that they are probably more now that have not done it, that's a real pressure cooker. And
so this is literally the Bernie Kosar 2 saga. You know, home.
Well, no, Bernie Kosar said, "I want to be here, and I'm not going anywhere." He refused to go to wherever the hell he told him. He went on the supplemental draft. Trubisky does want to come here, but I don't know if he should wish that fast. Although the offensive line is I believe they're top 10 right now after they picking up the players they did in free agency. So he'll have some support. And now what they do with the rest of the draft is whatever meaningful on that. So,
no, I think you misunderstood me. No, this wasn't about.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This was about local boy makes good and comes home.
No. Yeah, I know. And he demanded. He said, "I'm not going anywhere other than Cleveland." And then he kind of forced his way, like Rivers and Manning did the trade back with San Diego and stuff. So I understand what you're saying. Okay. He is a local boy, but Bernie, if you ever talk to him, he's way out there. So he didn't have no pressure at all.
Other than his father.
Oh, that's fine. It's everybody has pressure from your father.
That's true.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I'm going quarterback.
So Jeffrey, I'd be interested. What do you have here?
I'm going quarterback. If Trubisky's alive and kicking, then he will be the quarterback. Deshaun Watson. And I think there's a sleeper coming up with Mahomes from Texas Tech. I think he's going to go a lot higher than people think as well. But there's other teams that need quarterbacks. I think a quarterback goes in the 12th pick. I'll just put it that way.
Okay.
They have to pick up somebody at that point.
All right.
RJ3's gone, so who are you going to use? Brett Price?
I'm not against Kessler with an offensive line. I really am not. And I don't think they really believe that they can just jump up and surprise the world, especially with the schedule that I saw. And next year you got a boatload of quarterbacks coming out. Granted, you have a whole year to figure. They may not be healthy or anything, but in theory, next year is the year of the quarterback with your UCLAs and USCs, and et cetera, et cetera. So I'm not really believing that they want to jump up and go 14-2. If you follow what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't really. A red would be happy for me, or something like that. It wouldn't bother me to miss out on that. But But the owner wants fannies in the seats, and Trubisky would bring that. So it's kind of a double-edged sword with that going there.
Hey, come on, Cleveland fans are going to be there one way or the other.
The dog pound, baby.
Yeah, they will be, but not the way it's only a difference of 5,000-6,000 people, but it looks good with a sellout instead of some paint being shown on the seats. So they're faithful fans. Don't get me wrong. Indians could win 10 years in a row, and the Browns are still number one.
Yep, I agree.
So. All right. Okay, number 13, the St. Louis Cardinals, and it looks like the consensus is it's quarterback.
I believe so. I think
I'm just going Watson or Mahomes. That's my pick there. One way or the other to caddy for Palmer till he retires. Either one would be fine with me. I circle Watson only because Mahomes is Texas Tech, and I can't remember the last one that did very well in the pros.
Yep, we agree.
All right. Okay, next up, the Philadelphia Beagles by way of the Minnesota Vikings.
For the first time, I let the website take me. I had Cook going to this to Philadelphia, and the website said that no way would Cook go to Philadelphia, that they want McCaffrey. So I switched it over, but then I McCaffrey going earlier like you guys. So I'll say McCaffrey, but Cook would not surprise me either way, and I usually don't read those things if you would have called 4 minutes earlier, I would have Cook.
Well, I'm going with Fournette at that pick.
Really?
Okay.
Yep.
Wow, he's down for you, he's down in 14. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Well, if you really look at it, there's like 3 teams that need running backs. So when you say down at 14, yes, but you're talking about third. I think he's a second or third quarterback. I mean, running back.
No. I understand.
Back,
I understand that. Yeah. That's. I think Cleveland needs a running back because Crowell is pouting over his restricted thing. So
yeah, he always has. I thought he was done after the knife slicing cop post that he had, but well, you never know.
You never know.
I don't know.
It's like these guys have like
enough of Cleveland. We're done with Cleveland for the night.
All right, number 15.
But not the Indianapolis Colts.
Indianapolis Colts.
I don't usually like going with injured people, and the Charlton would be the safer pick here, but they definitely need a edge rusher here because is they the one that got the guy from Ohio State, the defensive lineman, right?
Yes.
So they plugged up the middle nicely. I'm going to go with it's kind of a high pick, Carl Lawson. But he gets injured when the wind blows too hard. But I'm hoping this year they're playing a dome. So I'm going to take them. But Charlton for me would be the safer pick.
Yep, I agree. If New Orleans doesn't take him, they definitely need defense. This is a possible Peppers play, depending on with that stuff that came up today. With a linebacker slash.
The same thing, the diluted thing, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, he put water in it, so whatever you say. You don't get the job in the real world if that happens. So.
Yeah.
No, I realize that, but this is a different.
I also like Quincy Wilson from Florida, secondary cornerback. It's a needed position for Indianapolis, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him go there.
All right. Uncle Bill?
Okay. Baltimore Ravens next up at the 16 spot.
You want me back to this? I'm going with a pass rusher again, and they're getting diluted now here, but I'm going to go with the guy that's been from Kansas State, Willis. He's played very well with Kansas State sacking and everything like that. The only concern they have is that the scores of the big 12 conference, but that doesn't bother me one bit. He's got the good motor, and I'll take him also. Harris would be in the background, and once again, if Charlton's still there, he would be a pick also. Yeah. Why don't I just pick Charlton? No.
So what do you think about what about Cam Robinson from Bama, D lineman? I mean, you're talking about guys that rush around.
Where's he in Baltimore? Yeah, but they need a tackle. I understand that, but I'm just I think Robinson or I don't like the other two. We'll get to that also, but yeah, Robinson would be a nice pick for them.
I like him. There's no doubt they're going to be picking up I shouldn't say no doubt, but they definitely need D-line. So
well, it's strange because I'm looking at this, and again, there's this analysis, and all 5 picked the wide receiver for the Baltimore Ravens.
Really?
Led by Mike Williams out of Clemson.
Well, he'll be gone.
Corey Davis, and those are basically the only 2 that they have them for the Ravens.
Well, with Stephen Smith Sr. Retiring, they definitely have a hole in wide receiver. I wouldn't be surprised to see, they need a wide receiver, so they also need a pass rusher.
There's Ross out there, but he's a slot guy, and he's another one. He's been injured. I mean, both of his legs have been injured already. That's kind of scary for that, but
I kind of like Ross. I'm hoping that he's not around when the Cowboys get their pick.
I don't see how Mike Williams is going to be around by the 16th pick.
I don't believe so.
I really don't. And I think Corey Davis might, again, coming out of a small school. But, all right, the 17th pick, the Washington Redskins.
I'm finally going to take Cook after dumping him down that far as a running back. Their biggest thing is they need some depth at the offensive line, possibly a quarterback for Cousins leaving, and maybe another wide receiver. But right here, I think Cook would be the play for him.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see a quarterback, depending on who's still around. Man, so there's a lot of good secondary guys that are still left.
I haven't even talked about Conley yet, who's coming up. You mentioned, what's his name, Wilson?
Yep.
I think T. White from LSU is better than Wilson is. Yeah, you're right. I got them marked down in case they don't want Cook. Either I take White or Conley in the corner.
Yep, I agree with that.
Okay. Next up, at the 18th pick, Tennessee Titans.
Another after getting Williams in the 5th pick, they sit there and it just was manna from heaven coming. The tight end is coming to them. O.J. Howard is coming to them at 8.
Baby. Hey, honestly, I hope you're right with that play. That would actually be. I mean, Mariota's probably wouldn't sleep for weeks after that one. I mean that's
what I have no right. Once again, I'm not. I went to 5 different places looking. Really, their whole team, other than wide receiver, is either average or above average. So that's the perfect draft for any team so far we've done, I believe.
Well, I mean, that's if if Howard's still there. I'll say it again. I like this kid from Miami.
David Njoku?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I like this kid.
Because
he's just
a couple
a
of
playmaker.
analysts have them as their pick for Tennessee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about opening up your offense, man, with a guy like that. I mean, that'd be fabulous. I like it. Tampa Bay Bucks.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Dun, dun, dun.
Guess who's going to Tampa?
Dalvin Cook. If still around.
Charlton.
Really? You think he'll still be
Yeah.
there?
No, I don't. But I have to. I painted myself in the corner, so I got left. I'm throwing the guy in Major League. I'm throwing everything I can find, but the kitchen sink. And this is that kitchen sink. If it hits, it hits. If not, that's it.
I think we have to go with the running back. So I'm going with whoever's left, McCaffrey, Cook, or Fournette.
What if those 4 are not? 3 are not? That's good.
Wait, I got another one. I'll tell you who it is. Continue to talk. I'll tell you who I got next.
Okay, so we've got, but you don't see a running back, do you, Georgie?
No, those 3. I mean, they're coming up, but I don't see them in any first round way of life.
I got Samuels. That's my other guy. Samuels from Ohio State.
Samuels.
Is he really a running back though?
I mean, he's as close to. I mean, that's what he's going. That's what he's being drafted as. So.
Okay. All right.
That's Percy Harvin Jr.
Right.
Okay.
That's true.
Just don't call me Percy. Next up, Denver Broncos, their first pick.
Now this is our offensive tackle, and then offensive tackle. You could go with Bowles, who's been started for 1 year and had a fantastic run blocker, but he had 17 holding penalties last year, and that even though it's the mighty Pac-12, I find that a little bit high. Ramczyk is also 1 year, and he had the hip surgery. You talked about if Robinson isn't around, then I got a problem, but I'm going to put Robinson there at 20 for the Denver Broncos.
I'll go with Ramczyk.
Got it, out of Wisconsin.
Yep. And then we can just roll right into the Lions because we already know who they're going to pay.
Yeah. Detroit Lions are on the clock.
They don't do the wide receivers anymore, do they?
Yeah, Michael Williams. No, I'm just kidding. No, the crappy Michael Williams, not the good one.
Well, let me go with the analysis is all defense, and the name I keep seeing is T.J. Watt.
Yes.
And also Taco Charlton.
Mm-hmm. I have a different second play. I like T.J. based on just the fact that J.J. said that he's actually better. I would actually just go from that.
Yeah.
But I like Malik McDonald from Michigan State. I think that he's definitely going to be a first-round pick for somebody, and he's definitely going to excel. So my first pick is going to be T.J.
Watt.
T.J. Watt.
Got it.
If Detroit doesn't take him,
I'm going away from both of you. No, wait a minute, Bill. You didn't do anything. I'm taking Mr. Reddick from Temple.
I like him.
He can play outside linebacker, which they need. He can be edge rusher, which they need. So he's going to be in one place. He's going to be what the Pro Football Focus said, the Swiss knife of football this year. And I think that'd be a nice pick for them. T.J. Watt, the one stat I didn't like about him is that every sack he had, he was unblocked. So I know that he still made the sack,
but he didn't miss.
Huh?
He didn't miss, though.
Yeah, that doesn't count the ones he missed.
Well, you got to close the deal. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Somebody gives you a free run.
Help me, Lord, please.
Miami Dolphins.
Okay.
Miami Dolphins at 22.
I see.
Go ahead. You go.
I see two things that they desperately need here. One of them is secondary. There's still going to be some guys still around. Tabor from Florida, depending on if Wilson gets drafted, but also possibly Sidney Jones from Washington. I mean, if they have
afford him to sit.
Say it again.
Can they afford him to sit? Do they need him right away, or no? He's going to be out the year, or at least 2/3 of the year.
Yeah, I mean, I would lean towards Tabor myself. I mean, I think that if you don't get secondary in Miami, they're gonna have some troubles. We got about 10 minutes left and about 10 picks to get through. So
Georgie.
I'm going the opposite way. They're moving Tunzel out to tackle. I'm going to take Lamp, even with the play that the lack of competition. He played well against Alabama. I'm going the other way with Lamp.
Got it.
I like him.
Yeah. All right. At 23, the New York Giants.
Giants, real quick, need a tackle badly. I'm taking your guy Ramczyk over Bowles in the first round.
Yeah. Well, the consensus is offensive lineman.
Yeah. Since Ramczyk's already going to be gone, I'm going to be taking Bowles.
Both take Bowles. All right. Next up, we've got the Raiders, the still Oakland Raiders.
Yes, who's having their party in Vegas, real classy. I'm going to take Oakland Raiders. I'm taking a cornerback, and I'm going to take Conley over White or Wilson or Tabor. I like Conley, and he's moving up the board, so and he's from Ohio State. So.
All right.
I like Conley as well. I mean, I think a secondary is definitely a big play.
Okay. Well, the consensus was defense.
Right.
Yeah. So at 25, Houston Texans. Their first pick.
Mahomes, if he hasn't gone 13.
I think they have to pick up a quarterback, so I think it's going to be one of those guys that are left.
Okay.
Either Mahomes or if Watson decides to drop down for some reason. They're definitely taking a quarterback.
Yeah.
That seems to be the consensus. Okay, next up we have the Seattle Seahawks.
I'm going to. They need cornerback probably worse than offensive tackle, but there's lots of cornerbacks left out there. I'm going to go back to the tackle and take Bowles to solidify their offensive line, which has been kind of pathetic lately.
The split is basically offensive tackle and safety or corner.
Tabor, Conley, whoever's left. Metafolu, possibly, Connecticut, which I know that he's had some talks.
What a great name. All right, Kansas City Chiefs at 27.
Their biggest need right now, besides maybe a QB backup, is inside linebacker. Jarrett Davis from Florida is there. I expect them to pick him. His only problem is he can't tackle, but he'll be
that could be a problem.
He'll be well coached, but I would take Davis to help. I guess Derek Johnson's getting kind of old.
Yep. Jarrett Davis or possibly Cunningham from Vandy. Zach Cunningham from Vandy.
Good
Got
pick
it.
there, yes, also.
Okay. Next up, the first pick for the Cowboys.
I'm going with the cornerback, and it's not. I think nobody's given him credit yet. That White from LSU.
I like him.
feel he's quite a player, and I think they'll like him there.
I actually had them going after offense and possibly trying to replace Beasley, or fill in a spot with Beasley. They do need some D-line help.
Yeah.
But
the consensus is all D, and anything from a D.
Probably that Charles Harris is still available.
Yeah, Charles Harris is nice. The thing about Charles Harris is he can actually either play DN or outside linebacker, so he's obviously going to be a good pick.
And if they want a cornerback, they could go with a Dory Jackson also. We haven't thrown him out, the punt returner also.
Yep.
That's right. Okay.
4 to go.
All right, and we got 5 minutes. Next up, the Packers, their first pick.
I'm going with Jeffrey's second pick in the draft, or wherever he was. I'm taking Humphrey at 29. He slipped a bit.
Got it.
He also, you'd use an edge rusher also.
Yeah, I think McKinley, maybe UCLA.
All right, first time saying that. Okay. I like that pick.
Of course you do.
At 30, Pittsburgh Steelers.
This one really isn't. I don't know if it's a real major thing, but I'm taking Ross, the wide receiver with Pittsburgh. If he could stay healthy and complement Brown, Roethlisberger can go into retirement very happy.
Oh, that would be great. I actually like that play. I like if Ross is still around right there.
Mm-hmm.
I like him going in the first round, and since we're getting to the end of the first round.
And just to throw this at you, as far as the analysts were concerned, it's the first time we've seen the name Jabril Peppers pop up, and it's at the 29th pick, Packers, and the 30th pick for the Pittsburgh. Number 31, the Atlanta Falcons.
They have very few things, a guard and an end. I mean, I could take either Feeney, but I'm going to take, since I've been saying Charles Harris, I'm going to take Charles Harris over the guard and take him as the edge.
Maybe Adams from Auburn, the D lineman,
Okay.
D tackle. I just like to see this guy go in the first round. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but if I had to go with some secondary guys, I mean there's a lot of good secondary guys that are going to be left at this point, and going into the second round, which obviously we're not going to get to, but
We'll at least finish up the first round.
Yep.
All right, and the last pick, the New Orleans Saints, via
I'm
the
grabbing,
Patriots.
as quickly as I can, I'm grabbing the safety from Connecticut.
I like him. I think he goes a little bit early, but
No, that's
Melifonwu?
yeah, whatever. What'd you call me?
Yeah.
I'll knock you out.
I forgot who's left, but I know that the Saints need some secondary, so possibly Baker from Washington.
Baker from Washington.
From free safety from Washington.
Got it.
How long we got?
That we've got basically a couple of minutes, 2
Okay.
minutes, and we've
We're going
got
to
at
the
least get through.
33rd with the Browns. This is one. He's a major what they call backside pain in the ass. But McDowell from Michigan State because they're going to a 4-3 Cleveland. McDowell, Shelton, Ogbe, and Garrett makes them look pretty damn good right there.
If he's still around, I had him going to Detroit, but if he's still around, that's a great pickup for the Browns. Watch that guy play all year, and he's probably the shining star of that squad.
Except for whether his attitude, a lot of people say he's just complacent and he just thinks he's too good for the world. So I don't know. And a lot of people said he didn't get good coaching at Michigan State, which I have a hard thing to believe.
I have a hard time believing that as well.
Probably.
Greg Williams will get him motivated.
Absolutely. Well, listen, guys, we
did
it. We got through the round, and including one pick in the second round. Georgie, thank you so much, man. We really appreciate it. And Jeff, needless to say, between the two of you, your contribution, I was only trying to be referee here and trying to keep track. But thank you guys so much.
Yep.
All right, take care.
All
Thanks,
right, Georgie, have a good one. Folks,
you too. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, that's our 2017 draft special. Please tune in next week. Actually, it'll be the first weekend, Monday in May.
Yep, May 1st.
May 1st. And for another installment of Southern Nevada Sports News coming to you from WorldwideDigitalTVCorp.com. Have a great week.